Ever notice how your grocery bills keep climbing, but certain shelves are getting emptier? You're not imagining it. Right now, millions of Americans are quietly preparing for what's coming next. They're not panicking. They're being smart. And today, I'm revealing exactly what they know that you might not. This isn't conspiracy theory stuff. Folks are stocking up on coffee, olive oil, pet supplies, even smartphones before costs surge or shelves turn bare. Are you being left behind? This isn't mere panic purchasing. It's strategic hoarding. And here's the reason it counts. Inflation, tariffs, and supply chain breakdowns are already happening. Keep watching because I'm unveiling the 15 daily basics people are securing right now before the rest catch wind. Hello, everyone. I've been researching extensively through Reddit forums, Facebook survival groups, and fresh reports from MarketWatch, Business Insider, and even Hacker News. What I uncovered is genuinely disturbing. Almost 1 in 5 Americans are now discreetly building reserves, not for pleasure, but from concern. Climbing costs, emerging tariff dangers, and erratic shortages have pushed average people to adopt prepper mindsets. And you should know what they're acquiring. In this presentation, I'm going to take you through 15 ordinary household products people are covertly building reserves from kitchen staples to electronic devices. And some of them will truly shock you. Remain until the finish because the final few products aren't just uncommon, they're already vanishing. And mention in the comments, have you witnessed a shortage or abrupt price surge in your region? Let's share experiences. You're not seeing things. Item 1. Coffee. Have you ever awakened to a coffee cup and thought, this could be the final affordable one I ever have? Well, keep that notion. Over recent months, buyers immediately boosted purchases of instant coffee by 21% after reports of impending tariffs made headlines. Yes, instant coffee. People are acquiring it in massive quantities. Why? Because on August 1st, 2025, a significant 50% tariff on Brazilian imports goes into effect. Around 1/3 of U.S. coffee comes from Brazil. Brazilian farmers are worried. Dealers are rushing deliveries into U.S. docks before that date. Meanwhile, coffee futures costs already doubled last year after serious droughts in Brazil and Vietnam cut global supply. Right now, Arabica coffee has hit near record levels. Some analysts say it's the worst increase since the 1970s. So here's the shocker. Even though coffee costs are up 9 to 12% in 2025, people still won't give it up. Demand is rigid. We must have our caffeine boost. That's why many are discreetly building supplies now. Envision walking into your kitchen to find the coffee section half bare. That frantic buying? It's already underway. And if you're a coffee lover, you might want to secure a few extra packages. So, yes, building coffee reserves isn't fear. It's wise planning before the cost climbs even higher. Better prepared than without caffeine, right? Item 2. Olive oil. Envision this. You're adding olive oil to your salad, and it's suddenly $10 per bottle. Sound ridiculous? Stay with me. Here's the twist. About 95% of olive oil used in the U.S. is imported. The U.S. hardly produces olive oil, only 40,000 acres compared to the EU's nearly 10 million. Now, new tariffs are coming. The current 10% tariff could jump to 30% as soon as August 1st. That means American buyers might face mid-single-digit to double-digit cost jumps on olive oil, making your usual bottle cost much more. So, people are discreetly building olive oil supplies now before costs skyrocket. Here's an amazing statistic. Spain shipped over 113,000 metric tons of olive oil to the U.S. in 2024, worth over $1 billion, a 58% jump from 2023. Spanish leaders warn their industry is worried. Some report a 38% surge in shipments during early 2025, with buyers loading up ahead of tariffs. Why should you worry? Because this isn't just food, it's liquid gold, and shortages or cost spikes could arrive soon. So, if you've been saving that bottle in the pantry, maybe get a few more. Simply put, olive oil is at risk. Imported, exposed, and facing harsh tariff impacts. Get it now. Item 3. Toilet paper. Let's be real. When was the last time you saw an empty toilet paper section and didn't feel that small panic? Toilet paper might seem boring, but in uncertain times, it becomes precious. During the 2020 pandemic, it was the first product to vanish from shelves, and now it's discreetly returning in survival shopping carts. According to a recent survey by Worldwide, sales of toilet paper and tissues have grown by over 12% year over year in Q2 2025. That's not random. Inflation, hints of another round of supply chain problems, and weather-related production issues are all pushing people to discreetly restock before shelves go empty again. Here's something amazing. The U.S. imports about 10% of its tissue products, mainly from Canada and Latin America. But rising fuel costs and shipping delays have made even that 10% unreliable. Reddit discussions like Artrage Preppers and Arsar Frugal have blown up with posts like, "I just bought a year's worth of TP, not taking risks again." Even warehouse stores like Costco have reported temporary limits on popular brands, according to shoppers in multiple states. That's not chance. So yeah, toilet paper isn't just a household product. It's a sign of how quickly normal life can feel unstable. And honestly, nobody wants to be stuck without it again. Bottom line, better to have it and not need it than the opposite. Item 4. Laundry detergent and liquid soap. You might not think laundry detergent matters much, but surprise? People are discreetly building supplies, and quickly. Here's the deal. In recent months, sales of laundry detergent and liquid soap have jumped by over 25% in some major U.S. cities. Why? It's not just about staying clean, it's about staying ready. According to MarketWatch and Business Insider, Americans are buying these basics in large amounts. Inflation's pushing costs upward, and with new tariffs on cleaning imports from countries like China and the EU, the price of household basics could rise another 15 to 20% by year-end. And here's the alarming part. The U.S. imports nearly 40% of its cleaning products. That means if anything blocks that supply, tariffs, conflict, a shipping crisis, shelves could empty quickly. Over on Reddit and Facebook, people are sharing photos of shelves cleared of Tide, Dawn, and even green brands. The prepping community is calling it the soap rush. Sounds crazy, right? But it's happening. And think about it. No one wants to be that person washing clothes with vinegar and prayers during a crisis. So, if you spot a deal at your local store, might be smart to get a few extra bottles, not to panic, but to prepare. Because clean clothes aren't just comfort, they're necessity. Item 5. Pet food and supplies. Picture you're talking with a friend. You say, "Hey, did you know nearly half of Americans are building reserves right now?" And that's your attention grabber. You'd be surprised. A recent creditcards.com study shows that about 42% of Americans are actively building supplies or planning to do so. That includes regular pet products. Here's the kicker. The U.S. pet market is thriving. In 2023 alone, households spent $45.5 billion on pet food, a huge 17.6% jump over 2022. Meanwhile, the overall pet industry hit $152 billion in 2024, up from $147 billion the year before. People love their furry family, and they're spending accordingly. Now, why are folks discreetly storing pet food and supplies? Supply chain worries, inflation, fear that costs will jump or products disappear. Even though pet food inflation has cooled to near zero in early 2025, veterinary care and other services are still rising sharply, up over 4.6% year over year. That pushes owners to buy when they can before costs climb again. Here's the surprising truth. Low-income households actually boosted pet food spending the most. Households earning under $30,000 spent 45.7% more in 2023 on pet food than the year before. That's massive. So, you can picture millions of households discreetly filling storage with kibble, treats, litter, vitamins, all ahead of potential cost jumps. It's like preparing for a pet-friendly disaster, but cozier and with more toys. Item 6. Toothpaste, shampoo, and hygiene items. Have you ever noticed how the hygiene section is starting to look a bit emptier than usual? It's not your imagination. People are discreetly building reserves of toothpaste, shampoo, deodorant, even soap. And it's happening quicker than you think. Here's the situation. A recent MarketWatch report showed a sharp rise in bulk buying of imported hygiene products like Colgate and Head & Shoulders. Why? Because costs are expected to jump due to new tariff plans and rising import expenses. In fact, Business Insider confirmed that many Americans are buying now to avoid paying nearly 30% more by year-end. Think about that. These aren't luxury products. They're daily basics. The stuff you need to start your day and feel human. Picture waking up one day and realizing your favorite toothpaste has doubled in price or just vanished from the shelf. It's already happening in some places. On Reddit's prepping forums, users are sharing tips for storing extra hygiene items long-term. One shocking post. A user revealed their local store limited toothpaste buying to just 2 per customer. 2. This isn't panic buying. It's discreet preparation. A shift from just enough to what if. Because when something as basic as shampoo becomes expensive, people pay attention. So, do you have backup hygiene supplies? Because right now, lots of people are making sure they do. And honestly, maybe they're right. Item 7. Canned goods, rice and dry staples. Let's talk food security because right now shelves are clearing of canned goods, rice, beans, and dry staples quicker than usual. And most people aren't even aware. Why? Simple. These are the cheapest, longest-lasting, and easiest to store foods during uncertain times. According to a MarketWatch survey, sales of shelf-stable pantry items have jumped dramatically over the last 90 days. In April, Business Insider reported that 1 in 5 households in the U.S. have started or expanded a survival pantry. That's not just survivalists anymore. It's regular families. The reason? Food inflation is still climbing, especially for basic staples. Rice costs, for example, have risen over 14% globally in the past year. And extreme weather is making things worse. And here's a stat that might surprise you. According to the UN's FAO, global grain reserves are now at their lowest level since 2015. Less supply equals higher costs, so wiser shoppers are building reserves now. People on Facebook prepping groups are even sharing lists of the best value canned foods like black beans, sardines, and chili because they last 2 to 5 years, sometimes more. So the next time you're in the grocery section, maybe grab that extra bag of rice or case of canned soup because if costs keep climbing, your pantry might just be the smartest investment you make this year. Item 8. Frozen meat and long-life cheese. All right, let's be honest. Meat costs are getting insane, and people are discreetly freezing more than just chicken nuggets. Frozen meats, blocks of waxed cheese, and even shelf-stable meats like jerky and canned Spam are flying off shelves. According to the USDA, beef costs have climbed over 8.6% just this year, and poultry isn't far behind. It's no wonder people are buying in bulk and putting it all into deep freezers. But here's the kicker. Some smart stockpilers are also getting waxed cheese wheels. Yes, those old-style red-wrapped ones. Why? Because they don't need refrigeration and can last months, even years when stored right. Reddit's R-Seekers Preppers forum is packed with tips on aging cheese at home like it's treasure. And there's a deeper reason behind this discreet rush: emotional comfort. A study from Psychology Today showed that during crisis times, people build reserves of comfort foods to feel more in control. So yeah, storing meat and cheese isn't just survival, it's mental wellness. Some are even preparing DIY mini-meat storage. Yep, actual thing, to keep their protein stash safe in case of power failures or supply shocks. So, if your freezer looks a bit empty, it might be time to reconsider, because once the next wave of shortages or cost increases hits, that steak in your freezer could be worth more than dinner. It could be calm. Item 9. Bottled water and electrolyte drinks. Let me ask you something. If your tap suddenly quit working right now, how long would your drinking water last? That question is hitting too close to home for millions of people across the U.S. There's been a discreet but growing movement. People are building reserves of bottled water and electrolyte drinks like Gatorade, Liquid IV, and even powdered rehydration mixes. It's not just about hydration anymore. It's about survival. According to FEMA, every person needs at least 1 gallon of water per day per person for drinking and sanitation. That's over 30 gallons a month for a family of 4. And most of us don't have anywhere close to that on hand. No wonder people are starting to build supplies. But here's the shocking part. A recent report from the American Society of Civil Engineers gave U.S. water infrastructure a C+ grade. Aging pipes, contaminated water sources, and climate-driven disasters are making clean water less certain than ever. Just last year, major U.S. cities like Jackson, Mississippi, and parts of Texas dealt with multi-day water outages. Picture having to boil water, if you even had it, just to brush your teeth. And it's not just bottled water. Electrolyte drinks are vanishing from shelves too, especially in areas hit hard by heat waves. They're essential during power outages when people lose access to AC and fans. Dehydration strikes fast, and these drinks replace lost minerals way faster than plain water. TikTok and Reddit prepping communities are packed with people sharing clever storage tricks, stacking water bricks, rotating Gatorade stock, and even mixing their own electrolyte powder blends to save space. So, if you've got an empty corner in your closet or pantry, fill it with water. Not soda, not juice, water. Because when the power's out or pipes freeze or taps go dry, bottled water becomes more than a drink. It becomes survival. And trust me, by the time the shelves are empty, it'll already be too late. Item 10. OTC medications and pain relievers. Let's discuss something most people don't think about until they desperately need it. Over-the-counter medications like pain relievers, fever reducers, allergy pills, antacids, cold medicines, and even basic first aid supplies are discreetly vanishing into survival pantries across the country. And for good reasons. According to Consumer Healthcare Products Association, over 80% of adults in the U.S. rely on OTC medicines as their first treatment option. But here's the problem. Many of these drugs are imported, especially from countries like India and China. And with continuing global supply chain troubles, new rules, and rising production costs, the availability of these basic medications is becoming uncertain. In early 2024, Business Insider reported noticeable shortages in children's Tylenol and certain cold flu medications due to a mix of panic buying and delayed imports. And it's not just the U.S. Canada and parts of Europe faced the same trouble last winter. Now, here's the shocking part. Some pharmacies started limiting how much cold medicine customers could buy. Picture being told you can only buy 2 packs of ibuprofen during flu season. No wonder Reddit threads and Facebook groups are packed with people creating personal medicine cabinets the size of a small closet. Some even label and rotate stock like it's a pharmacy, because for them, it is. And it's not paranoia, it's preparation. Think of the last time you had a terrible headache and there was nothing in the house. Now picture that, but in the middle of a power outage, snowstorm, or emergency. So next time you pass the pharmacy section, maybe grab that extra box of cold medicines or painkillers, because when something as simple as a fever becomes difficult, you'll be glad you planned ahead. Item 11. Batteries, power banks, and emergency electronics. Picture this. The power's been out for 8 hours. Your phone's dying at 8%, no flashlight around, and suddenly everything feels scarier. That's exactly why people are building reserves of batteries, power banks, flashlights, and even old-fashioned crank radios like never before. We've become so used to constant power, we forget how fast things can go dark. Actually, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the average American faced over 5 hours of power outages in 2023, and those numbers are growing due to extreme weather, grid overloads, and natural disasters. And it's not just the weather. As threats of cyber attacks on power grids grow, yes, that's a real worry. The idea of losing access to light, communication, and even news updates is starting to hit home. Reddit prepping communities and Facebook survival groups are packed with people recommending their favorite gear. Lithium batteries, they last longer, solar-powered power banks, LED lanterns, and those hand-crank radios that also charge phones and come with a built-in flashlight. Multi-tools for the modern blackout. Here's a wild fact. During the 2021 Texas freeze, power banks sold out across multiple states within 48 hours. Not TVs, not snacks, power. Because in a real emergency, it's not about Netflix. It's about knowing what's happening, staying safe, and keeping your family connected. So, if your drawer of dead AA batteries isn't working anymore, you're not alone. And maybe it's time to build a small power kit of your own. Trust me, when that storm hits or the grid fails, you'll be glad you didn't wait. Item 12. Feminine hygiene products and personal care essentials. Here's something most people won't discuss openly, but it's absolutely vital. Feminine hygiene products, condoms, and other personal care items are discreetly becoming one of the most built-up categories in prepping circles. Why? Because they're essential, non-negotiable, and often completely overlooked until they're suddenly unavailable. Let's check the facts. Over 70% of feminine hygiene products sold in the U.S. are imported, mostly from China and Southeast Asia. And with rising global tariffs and shipping delays, costs have already jumped by 15 to 20% over the past year, according to Market Watch. Some stores have even reported empty shelves in rural areas where restocks are slower. A Reddit thread in R-Trader2X Preppers recently went viral after one user shared that their local store limited tampons to 1 pack per customer. Think about that for a second. 1 pack for something half the population needs monthly. It's not just pads and tampons. People are also building reserves of condoms, razors, baby wipes, and even deodorant. These aren't just convenience items. They're hygiene tools. And during a crisis, cleanliness becomes survival. Prepping groups on Facebook have even started organizing hygiene bins with backups of everything from menstrual cups to travel-sized shampoo. The goal? Never be caught unprepared, especially during a time when dignity and comfort matter more than ever. So, if you're building your emergency kit and skipping over this stuff, don't. Because in a real-world crisis, staying clean, protected, and prepared isn't just about health. It's about keeping control in chaos. And right now, smart people are discreetly making sure they're covered. Item 13. Smartphones, laptops, and tech devices. This one might surprise you, but yes, people are now building reserves of smartphones, laptops, and other essential tech devices before the next cost surge hits. Why? Because tech isn't just a luxury anymore. It's survival. And with the threat of new tariffs on electronics from China, along with rising production costs for chips and batteries, experts are warning costs could spike by up to 25% in the next year. That's according to recent reports from MarketWatch and Bloomberg. A Business Insider article from early 2025 even showed that buyers are rushing to grab backup phones and refurbished laptops before the next round of tariffs becomes law. Think about it. In a world where remote work, online banking, digital payments, and communication are essential, losing access to your device is like being cut off from the modern world. Here's the kicker. Some smart users on Reddit and Quora are even stocking basic unlocked phones and solar chargers, planning ahead for grid disruptions or emergencies. A used iPhone or Chromebook might sound like too much now, but if your main device breaks during a crisis and there's a shortage, it could be priceless. One Redditor said it best. If the world goes crazy, I'd rather have a $200 backup phone than regret not having it when everything's gone. So whether it's for prepping, backup, or just avoiding the next cost increase, tech is becoming the new toilet paper, discreetly vanishing one box at a time. Item 14. Makeup, skincare, and beauty products. Now, this might sound a little surprising, but yes, makeup, skincare, and beauty products are absolutely being built up, and not just by influencers. Here's why. These aren't just vanity items. For many people, they're part of daily routine, identity, and mental well-being. During stressful times, a bit of lipstick, moisturizer, or a familiar scent can feel comforting. And now, with inflation and import costs rising, these small comforts are turning into high-demand essentials. According to Business Insider, many beauty and skincare brands depend heavily on imported ingredients from Europe and Asia. With rising shipping costs and tariffs, prices on everyday items like moisturizers, sunscreen, foundation have already risen by 12% or more in just the past year. That's not hype, that's data. On Reddit's r/r female prepping and Facebook prepper groups, users are sharing beauty stash photos like treasure collections. Some are even vacuum sealing their favorite skincare items or building reserves of long-lasting essentials like mineral powder makeup and solid lotion bars that don't expire quickly. And here's a stat that might amaze you. During the early 2020 lockdowns, lipstick sales dropped, but skincare sales soared. People turned inward, and what they built reserves of wasn't luxury. It was normalcy. Because in a crisis, looking in the mirror and seeing a face you recognize, clean, cared for, and calm, is more powerful than we realize. So next time you see your favorite moisturizer on sale, maybe don't wait. Because while the world gets noisier, a quiet routine might be the most valuable thing you own. Item 15. A second wave of stockpiling. Let's finish with a twist. The last item isn't new at all. It's the return of the repeat items, the things people panic-bought during COVID, and are now discreetly building reserves again. We're talking toilet paper, coffee, pet food, and you guessed it, olive oil. Remember the great toilet paper panic of 2020? Well, it's making a discreet comeback. Not the chaos, but the caution. According to MarketWatch, sales of toilet paper and paper towels have seen a noticeable increase since spring 2025, despite no emergency headlines. Why? Because people remember. They felt that sudden helplessness once, and they're not letting it happen again. Coffee is another hot item, literally. With tariffs and climate disruptions threatening crops in Brazil and Vietnam, costs have jumped over 15% in the last year. And let's be honest, no one wants to face a crisis without caffeine. Pet food sales are also rising. Business Insider reported that nearly 1 in 4 pet owners are now keeping an emergency stash of food, treats, and even kitty litter, because pets are family, and no one's forgetting them this time around. And then there's olive oil, the liquid treasure of pantries. Droughts in Spain have sent costs soaring worldwide. Some users on Quora even say they're keeping multiple bottles in cool, dark storage like they're aging wine. The pattern is clear. People are learning from the past. They're watching the news, feeling the pressure, and preparing discreetly, steadily, and smartly. Because the first wave taught everyone something. The time to build reserves isn't when it's gone. It's before anyone else notices. So, there you have it. 15 everyday items people are discreetly storing away before the shelves go bare or costs explode. From bottled water to backup phones, it's not just preppers anymore. It's regular people paying attention. And here's the truth. The ones who prepare early, they don't panic later. So, take a look around your home. What do you wish you had more of? What would disappear first if things went sideways tomorrow? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. If this video opened your eyes or gave you even one smart idea, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on what to build reserves, prep, or protect, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next crisis won't send a warning, but you can still be ready.